Okay, picked up lunch at, in my opinion, the best Mexican food in Portland. And I'm going to give this a shot. See how this goes. I'm going to go to one of my other favorite coffee shops, actually, in Sellwood. It's about 10 miles. A little bit I-5, a little bit. So I would have gone there. And there's someone trying to cross the street here in a second, so I'll probably back up. She's crossing that way. I guess she's crossing the other side. And just waiting for it. So, not the worst, but there was a good gap there. Or not even a good gap. There was a gap there that I would have gone. Still would have been a little bit close, but definitely doable. Good to go, car. Admittedly, I think Portland is pretty notorious for just having bad visibility at a lot of intersections, especially in these residential areas. But yeah, it's going to be a mix probably of getting residential, probably going to hop onto Willamette here, and then get on I-5 to go down to Milwaukee from St. John's.
In 500 feet, turn left onto North Willamette Boulevard.
Personally, I would have gone a little over sooner than it did, but still wasn't too bad. So let's try it. I'd say it's still a little more in the middle of the intersection or on the street than I would be. It's not bad, but I would just
now turn left onto North Willamette Boulevard.
Okay, let's turn on the left signal. And let's see what it's doing. It's clear to go, so it should go if it's going to go. It's kind of peeking out. Pretty much already on the intersection by that point. But it's not too bad. Increased to meet the speed limit, which is just 25 through here. I'm probably going to just keep it at that. That's probably what most people go anyway. If we start getting people behind us, we'll speed it up. But we're going to actually pass University of Portland here in a bit, and Cathedral Coffee is a great little spot. Overcast, but we get a little blue skies today. So for Portland, this is actually a pretty nice January day. And it's 60 degrees. That's a little warm. But honestly, so far, kind of a boring drive. Which is good. It's still not perfect by any means, and there's unfortunately some garbage or crap in the road, but it's missing that. But I have noticed that in general, it does just turn a lot, it's just a lot smoother driving. It definitely has room for improvement, but I think that's what I'm most curious to see with version 12. From everything I've heard, it seems to be a lot better. So we're coming up on a bicyclist. We have a car behind us right now, so it went a little out of the way, but not really in a bad way, just to give the bicyclist a nice little more room, which is good. I did increase the speed to go a little above the speed limit by a few miles an hour, just because there's a car not tailgating us, but now behind us close enough that I'd say it makes sense, and he was clearly going faster than the speed limit. But yeah, I increased it. Now we're going definitely fully legal speed. It's slowing down a couple miles, but really not too bad for the bicyclist. I mean, that's, as someone who's biked on these streets a lot before, it's something I'd appreciate, because it's not that you don't have it's super tight, but you get the occasional, what am I trying to think of? Essentially, drain and other things just in the road, so having a little bit of buffer around the bicyclist is nice, just in case they gotta do their own thing. And admittedly, today's a pretty clear day, so not a bad day to be biking at all. It's green, and we're passing a bicyclist with a Tesla logo on. And here is the University of Portland. Looks like we got a few soccer players. Getting back to, yeah, I guess all the dorms are on campus, so probably there has to be a building. But, yep, Portland Pilots, famous for the soccer team here. So it's not slowing. Yeah, it might have slowed down, but I would say my guess is it probably would have because I have seen it be pretty responsive, but in my book that was a fail. Just because it should have done it sooner, come to a smoother stop. But that's the exact kind of stuff I'm hoping to see change with this newer version. Seems like with those yellow lights flashing at that crosswalk, that probably should have been more of an indicator for it, but I don't know. I'm hoping it would have. I've seen in other videos it's done it, but it definitely, as someone who uses a crosswalk, would not have made me feel very comfortable or been a little jarring to see a car kind of slam on its brakes like that. So I figured I'd take over, but overall, another just kind of beautiful drive along the Willamette. If you've never been here, but you're in Portland, it's definitely a great way. Unfortunately, you can't see it from this video too much. You're just kind of seeing the crack in the windshield right now, but it's a great way to actually see the cityscape of Portland. Just a lot of old classic Portland homes. And the University of Portland has also just become a beautiful, it's a private college campus, but college campus you can walk around no problem. And if you've never been, I also recommend checking out the Twilight Room, which is probably the de facto University of Portland kind of dive bar. And I think it's I can't tell, but I think that's a Fairlane, old Ford Fairlane ahead of us. Cool old car. Nice kind of light blue. Yeah, let's see. Maybe I'll move real quick, but there you go. Kind of not really easy to tell with the fisheye view of this, but City of Portland looking beautiful from a distance. Haven't been downtown in a few months, but unfortunately, last time I was down there was pretty sad to see. Hope it's way up. But yeah, this is a pretty common little, just as you can see, a lot of pedestrians jogging and biking. You might hear getting a bunch of texts. It's not the car, just the car letting me know I'm getting a bunch of text messages. But otherwise, yeah, just kind of driving through here and following traffic and speeds as much as possible to stay kind of with traffic. Okay, this is a pretty sharp turn. Let's see. Not too bad. Maybe a little fast, but no, not bad at all. I mean, technically, I would have taken it faster if I was driving, but I've
In
I don't
500 feet, turn right onto North Greeley Avenue.
let's see if it knows where to turn on this one. But I only would have turned faster had there not been a bicyclist because I have also biked that little area. And
Now turn right onto North Greeley Avenue.
it can kind of be a little bit of a pinch point. It's not really comfortable as a bicyclist. So the light is green and we're going. Cool. Nice. Pretty smooth and pretty confident turn. And yeah, you're clear pedestrian, so really nothing to give it any issue. I do feel like it is more confident and maybe a bit more, I don't know, maybe confidence not the right word, but it's just interesting when there's a car in front of it while it's on full self-driving. It just seems like it tunes into that a bit more to see what it's doing and then also things around it, good or bad. Another classic dive bar here in North Portland, the Barlow Tavern on the left here. Oh, I have a new message from Tesla service, so we'll see what they have to say. Gonna get that crack replaced. Now, I wouldn't say it's bad, but I would probably be a little farther over, although now it is, just because there can be bicyclists here, but it also wasn't painted, so that doesn't really help it. I don't think that's the right thing. Yep, and it just realized it's not. So that's really funny. It was trying to turn right. It just turned the right signal back on. It shouldn't be doing that. And yep, it's back in its lane. Really bizarre. Definitely it would be a fail, but luckily we're going slow and there's no pedestrians or bicyclists around us. And the car, coincidentally a Tesla behind us, was pretty decent location behind us, or I would have taken over. But it was interesting. Right as it was about to take over, I had to, it corrected itself. So not ideal by any means, but it is kind of wild to see the car understand it messed up. It's like, I mean, I even had to do a double take to see if that was the right way to speed up a couple miles an hour just because, keep up with traffic through here. But I wasn't even sure just because of how they had marked the bus intersection right there if I was going the right way or I was in the right lane for it. So I kind of understood where it made a mistake, but I would also consider that a fail. Nope, it's trying to go in the bus lane again, and so I just turned that off. And let's see, once we get past this light, I'll turn it back on. Pretty interesting. People are definitely speeding through here. But get over here, get up to speed, do 5 over, and let's see, I'm going to increase the speed a little bit just so we can kind of get in the right lane. There's a truck kind of where we didn't want to be. I just forced it over lane. The truck, of course, tries to speed up. Oh, yep. And there we go. My guess is it would have done the right thing, but that guy past me is, yeah, it says perfect. Definitely speeding.
In 1,000 feet, take the Interstate 5 south on the right toward Salem.
I mean, this is actually a pretty notorious area for Portland for speeding, so not surprised in the slightest to see it. I'm doing 5 over.
Now take the Interstate 5 south
be a little bit faster, but probably not even as fast as the other guys are. And just to clarify, I did move it into the right lane. Just to kind of get around some of this. I think it probably would have done the right thing. That was for an intersection where it's been able to figure this stuff out. That one was pretty clearly marked. Oh shit, that is a big pothole. God damn. Not sure if the potholes show up on the camera on it right now. Let's see. It says the advisory speed on those lights is 30. I'm curious to see. Nope, it did not change for that. Technically, it doesn't need to follow that, but oh. Okay. I turned on the left turn signal just because this is a very dangerous area. And I just wanted to get into the right position early. Overall, it's driving decently for what's going on right now. Definitely covering the brake just in case. But yeah, I've seen a lot of accidents here in the past between people getting rear-ended or other things going on. But today, it's not too bad. This is just kind of an interesting pinch point in I-5 where essentially 3 lanes become 2.
In 1 mile, take exit 300B on the right toward US 26 East, Oregon 99E.
And especially during rush hour. Now, normally if I was driving, I would get in the left lane, which that's so funny. I say it and it's doing that. It just canceled it though because there's a lot of cars and this is a hard place to get in the left lane. But the reason I would do that is because, as I said, it's becoming 2 lanes and this lane on the right merges into our current lane. So you normally kind of go slower. like I said, today it's not too bad, but it does definitely slow you down a bit. It's interesting. It clearly tried to do a left turn and then canceled it. Which, I don't know. I think it's... Is it on... Oh, it is on assertive, so that's interesting. Good spacing for letting this guy actually merge in. It's kind of impressive. Yeah, I just had to check. I thought it was on the normal autopilot setting, so I thought that was kind of impressive that it tried to do and then cancel, but no, it's on assertive, so that's funny that it tried to do that and then canceled getting into the left lane. But yeah, this is just a busy area, and honestly, sometimes I go back and forth. If I was in a bigger rush, yeah, I'd get in the left lane, but today I'm just kind of here for the drive, along with you guys. And I've got to get in the right lane here pretty quickly anyway, so this is another kind of pinch point is not only do you have the 2 lanes, but this is where if you want to take I-84 east, which goes out to Hood River, my home town, and essentially a major arterial interstate, you would take this right lane. So you have a lot of people getting on this, and then you have a lot of people who are just taking this exit by the Moda Center, which we just passed, as I always call it, the Rose Garden, the home of the Portland Trailblazers. And that is how you get on to I-5 along with I-84. So you have a lot of cars kind of getting in and out of that one lane, and a lot of the time people are just confused as to the whole traffic process. So not too busy today. Once again, kind of lunchtime, so some people, but pretty easy.
Now take exit 300B on the right.
So it's kind of interesting. It just said, okay, not a bad turn, maybe a little, kind of a little close to the right side, but interesting little infographic popped up, and it said,
take the Morrison Bridge ramp on the left toward Oregon City.
Choosing right to stay in Fork. That's not exactly what it said, but it was just kind of letting me, the driver, know what I was doing. Another massive pothole, luckily we didn't hit. This is also a famous Portland...
now take the Morrison Bridge ramp on the left.
Dare I say Fustercluck, where you have I-84 merging on it, and people either need to get over a lane to get to City Center, or in this case, we're getting the left lane. Fortunately, we kind of dodged the bullet, and there wasn't anyone immediately behind us, but even as I started looking, probably about 50 to 75 yards behind us, there were people trying to cross the lanes. Now, it's slowing down. I would say more than it should be, but not too
in 500 feet, take the ramp on the right toward US 26.
People usually take this faster.
Boulevard.
But, yeah.
Now take the ramp on the right toward US 26.
Turn on its lights, or turn on the blinker. Okay, turn it back on. That's right. Turn it on real briefly, but now what we're going to do is we're doing this. It's a loop, and then we're actually going to turn left. So let's see if it gets that right. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to take control here. Actually, no. I forgot. This does merge. So no one trying to get over. And comes to a stop. So once again, this isn't bad. It's actually still pretty impressive, but it is like student driver-esque to possibly someone new to Portland just confused driving these streets. Not bad, but yeah, they do. Now, okay, cool. I was just going to say, I'm going to force the turn signal. Oh my god, that's a huge pothole. What do you think? Okay, we hit it a little bit. Jeez. Wow. Portland, you got some bad potholes right now. That was a wild one because I don't know if it showed up on the camera, but it was like 2 potholes in one. Oh, it's making a change. Kind of what I would do, actually, anyway. But really impressive with that, not that most recent one, but the lane change before, because that's exactly when I would have gone one lane over. But wow, the potholes here are real bad right now. As you can see, some people weaving in and around. I'd say I'm kind of going with traffic as it is, but I just increased it by a few miles an hour just to, like I said, I'd be a little bit safer. Not being too slow or too fast, and just trying to meet most people in the right lane right now. I don't know. I think a lot of people would see this and say, what the hell, or how is this that impressive? But At the same time, my takeaway is it's pretty impressive how far it's come, and I'm just really curious to see what the new version of full self-driving will be, because it's impressive that they've built this system. Potholes here are unreal. It's impressive how they've built this system by kind of having to manually build everything. It's so impressive that it is this, but having to write these codes aligned that if this, then do this, just I don't believe would ever scale internationally, especially, but even just in a lot of driving situations domestically. So I think, okay, it's getting in the right lane, which is the right thing. It's matched the speed limit, which did increase. So I'm going to just increase it again to better reflect traffic at 5 over. Yeah, that was well done. It's been interesting. It's definitely not perfect, but overall, the points at which it makes lane changes are a lot better. I could still probably do it occasionally a little earlier, but overall, pretty good. Now, I think this is the right exit. It's been a while since I've been down here. Right, we have to get in this lane, but it's not this exit, it's the next. Okay, yeah, cool. Did the right thing.
In 1,000 feet, take the Milwaukee Avenue ramp on the right.
That's why I used to drive this all the time, but it's been a while since I've been up here. Okay. Slow down a little bit with that car cutting it, but
Now
probably
take the
done the same.
Milwaukee Avenue ramp on the right.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's slight. It makes student driver mistakes every now and then.
Then right onto
But I would also say it drives better than one, which probably doesn't make a lot of people feel reassured. But it's impressive to see how far it's come, and I'm
Now
really
then
curious
right
to see
onto Southeast Milwaukee Avenue.
a fully neural net system do this. Because, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be Tesla or someone else, but that just seems to be the most likely way to ever conquer this problem, because you need something that's not as stiff or likely to break by having all these unique lines of code. Okay. It is also interesting, put on the turn signal and then kind of turns off. So it should go. It came to a stop. We got a bus coming. This is its time to go. It's creeping forward for visibility. It went not well. I gave it a little bit of the beans because now there's a bus behind us. It wasn't dangerous, but it was closer than it should have been. Yeah, it was nice to see it wait for that pedestrian that was running past, but it should have just pretty quickly after that gone ahead. And did a pretty good job. Just, I'm not sure if it comes through. These are fairly narrow streets, especially when you have cars parked on the road. So now it's kind of drifting a little more to the right, but it corrected itself. Very wild stuff. So it's reduced the speed to 20, which honestly isn't a bad speed for through here. Because I've seen so many weird things when you're going through downtown Sellwood, but it is definitely a cute little part of Portland. Oh, we got a pedestrian about to cross, and the car did the right thing. That was pretty smooth, actually. Technically, I think it needs to legally wait, but that's exactly how I would
In
have done it.
500
That's pretty
feet,
impressive.
turn right onto Southeast Glenwood Street. Then turn right.
I kind of tapped the brakes a little aggressively just because it thought, and are you? Oop. Okay, so it slowed down, and then I even couldn't quite tell what it was going to do, and then it started going again. So I did disengage. I think I
Now
would have done the
turn
right
right
thing, but
onto
it once
Southeast
again
Glenwood Street.
would have been the scary thing for a pedestrian. And now we are pretty much where I wanted to be. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap this one up.
Now turn right.
Just really fascinating to see how this all works. Honestly, I think on highway, and especially rural highways, this thing's really pretty rock solid. In the city, it definitely gets a little more sketchy. But it's also just wild when you think about what this thing is doing. And I guess as some commentary, if you haven't been following, obviously Cruise is the car company that's been having a lot of issues with self-driving and their programs. And while there's, I think, a lot of really cool things that they were doing and a lot of smart people there, I just never understood why, for many reasons, you would have the majority of the decision making being outside of the car and being done remotely. As we saw repeatedly, the big thing being if you lose cell connection, it kind of can't think. Or it just goes to a pretty unpolished fallback state, if not altogether. And so I think it's just still really wild that this is a consumer car that you can get, and it does a lot of this. I think it's a little bit spinny, but as someone, and you'll hear on the next podcast, actually, someone who's helping someone buy a car for $6,000 for an enhanced autopilot. It's expensive, but it's not a bad deal. And full self-driving at $12,000 is really expensive. I'm just doing the $200 a month thing, which I think just for pure fascination is worth it, personally, which I understand if it isn't for a lot of people, it's like a year's worth of Netflix, but, and then some. But this is just wild stuff. It is really impressive to see how much better it's gone, and it clearly has a long ways to go, but my biggest gripes with it seem to be the things that I think it can actually improve by going to more of a neural net system and learn a much faster way. And I think maybe that needs to be an episode of its own, why I think neural nets make the most sense just with my exposure professionally, and where I've seen the technology see a lot of success. I think that is kind of the mindset, especially if you're doing it on car processing, that you need for it to just be prepared for anything. And that's why these kind of structured, when you're writing code, you can only write for situations you see or know. And so many times, as human drivers know, there's things that you just have never seen before that happen. So with that, I'll end it here, and thanks for joining.